Imagine losing absolutely everything in a single, merciless heartbeat. Your honor, your love, your rightful place in the world all ripped away not by a tragedy of fate, but by the cold, calculated words of the very soul destined to be yours for eternity. Picture yourself standing in the center of a colossal, unforgiving hall. Hundreds of mocking eyes are fixed upon you, waiting eagerly for your inevitable collapse. They want to see you shatter. They crave your tears, your desperate screams, your begging, because your destruction is the only thing that can validate their cruelty. But what happens when you refuse to give them that satisfaction? What happens when a woman, pushed to the absolute edge of the abyss, does not retaliate with a curse, but with a silence so absolute, so suffocatingly cold, that it becomes a weapon far more lethal than any drawn blade? Now, let us delve into the anatomy of one of the most masterful narratives of self-reconstruction and power shifts ever told. We are not merely recounting a novel today, we are dissecting a psychological phenomenon, a silent yet roaring manifesto of feminine strength in the face of ultimate rejection. We have been conditioned by media and conventional storytelling to expect a loud, chaotic reaction to betrayal. Yet, in the story of Seline Wren and Alpha King Leoric Thain, we are presented with a cruel but mesmerizing paradox, the power of absolute silence. Let us rewind the clock and step into the very first climax of this tale, the exact moment where the world shatters. Welcome to the Grand Hall of the Pack Council, a magnificent, intimidating space engineered specifically to flaunt the absolute supremacy of the werewolf hierarchy. Imagine the towering stone pillars, the roaring flames of torches casting long, missing shadows, and the suffocating weight of the elite class's judgmental gazes converging on the center. There, sitting upon a throne forged from pride and prejudice, reigns Alpha King Leoric Thain. Leoric is not just a king, he is the living embodiment of the pack's raw power, the ruthless pragmatism required for survival, and, tragically, an ego so dangerously inflated that it eclipses the most sacred, primal bond of all, the fated mate. Standing before him, completely isolated in the freezing expanse of that grand hall, is Seline Wren. Seline does not carry a drop of royal blood in her veins. She possesses no overwhelming physical strength to crush enemy warriors, nor does she bring any political leverage to fortify Leoric's throne. In the eyes of the council, and ultimately in Leoric's own calculated judgment, she is a flaw in the system. She is an error of destiny, a mismatched union that threatens the absolute dominance of the Alpha King. And then, the irreversible verdict is delivered. With a voice devoid of warmth, echoing loudly without a single trace of remorse, Leoric publicly declares that Seline is unworthy of standing beside his throne. He openly rejects the mate bond, severing the sacred thread of their souls in front of the entire pack. It is a moment meticulously designed for complete annihilation. It is orchestrated to crush Seline's dignity into dust, to force her to kneel in submission to his authority, or at the very least, to make her a pathetic, living example that no one steps into the realm of ultimate power without the king's permission. But Leoric miscalculates. He expects a shattering glass, but what he receives is a terrifyingly still, fathomless lake. Seline does not shed a single tear, she does not fall to her knees to beg. She offers no desperate arguments to prove her worth, nor does she hurl a single insult to satisfy their expectation of a broken woman. She simply turns her back, keeping her spine completely straight, and walks away. It is precisely in that lingering moment, as Seline's fragile yet unyielding silhouette disappears behind the colossal oak doors of the Great Hall, that a monumental secret is planted, a plot twist that instantly transforms this story from a tragic romance into a spectacular game of power. What Leoric and the entire arrogant council fail to realize is that Seline is not leaving empty-handed. Carried within her, veiled by that magnificent, prideful silence, is the blood of the Alpha King himself. She carries his only heir, a life possessing the purest, most formidable power of the royal lineage. By rejecting her, Leoric has unwittingly stripped himself of the very future and legacy he is so desperately trying to protect. Seline steps into the shadows, taking with her a life that will become his most fatal weakness, the most devastating punishment for a man who arrogantly threw away his own destiny.